Welcome to the finale of our 4-part series. This is the final hurdle. Part 3 tests the limits of your logic. Today, we're doing a point of view simulation on the abstract 2026 topics like ethics and architecture. I'll show you the global to local structure you need to keep organized. If you missed the first 3 videos, they're linked below. Let me know in the comments if you found these helpful, and we'll create more. Also, be sure to download the advanced connector sheet from your practice bundle before we begin. Remember, there are no more simple questions. These are why and how questions. Let's get started. We've been discussing homes. Let's consider the impact of architecture on a community. Do you believe that the design of buildings can actually influence the happiness of the people living in them? Some people argue that historical buildings should be demolished to make way for modern high-density housing. To what extent do you agree with this view? In the future, do you think people will value the location of their home more or less than they do today, given the rise of remote work? Thank you. So, how did that go? If you talked about your house or your friend, you made a mistake. Part 3 is abstract. You need the global to local method, which is available for free using the link in the description. This is the logic I used as a marker to separate a band 7 from a band 9. Start big. On a macro level, many urban planners argue, then move to the effect. This results in a sense of social isolation. Finally, use a general example. Take, for instance, the brutalist architecture of the 1960s. This shows the examiner that you can handle complex academic English. Let's look at a Band 9 example response for each question. Question 1. Do you believe that the design of buildings can actually influence the happiness of people living in them? Let's look at the global to local strategy here. Absolutely. On a macro level, urban planners and psychologists frequently contend that the built environment plays a pivotal role in the collective mental well-being of a society. The effect is that when architecture prioritizes high density, gray blocks over aesthetics or natural light, it often results in a profound sense of social isolation and urban decay. Take, for instance, many of the brutalist housing projects from the mid-20th century. They are now being redesigned to include green spaces and communal areas specifically to combat the psychological toll that sterile environments take on the residents. Question 2. Some people argue that historical buildings should be demolished to make way for modern, high-density housing. To what extent do you agree with this view? The strategy here is to ensure that you use a balanced viewpoint. Here, a Band 9 response would be, that's a multifaceted issue. On the one hand, proponents of demolition argue that modernizing city centers is an economic necessity to solve the housing crisis in sprawling metropolises. They believe high-density apartments are more practical than preserving dilapidated structures. Conversely, there's a strong argument that historical landmarks are the cultural bedrock of a community, providing a sense of identity that glass and steel skyscrapers simply cannot replicate. Personally, I'm inclined to agree that a hybrid approach, repurposing historical facades while modernizing the interiors, is the most sustainable way to preserve heritage without sacrificing progress. Now let's look at question 3. In the future, do you think people will value the location of their home more or less than they do today, given the rise of remote work? The strategy to use here is speculation. A Band 9 response would be something like, it's highly conceivable that in the foreseeable future, the traditional premium placed on city center locations will steadily diminish. Given the surge in telecommuting, many professionals are no longer tied to a physical office, which makes a relocation to rural or coastal areas much more attractive. One can envision a future where location is defined by the quality of high-speed infrastructure and proximity to nature, rather than a short commute to a central business district. Therefore, it's predictable that in the real estate market, we'll see a significant shift in demand towards the outskirts of major cities. Now look at this cheat sheet. These aren't just fancy words, they're signposts. They tell the examiner exactly where your logic is going. If you can't use these comfortably, you're probably not ready for a Band 8. Watch this video again, and this time, during the simulation, use the global to local method and these signposts. Congratulations, you've finished the full series. You now have the formulas, the vocabulary, and the simulation. Now you need the feedback. Sign up to e2language.com today and use our speaking mock test to get a diagnostic report from ex-examiners. You can book your session at the time that's most convenient for you. Let's turn this practice into a real Band 9. I'll see you over at E2.